Assalamu alaikum students. How are you all? I hope you all are doing good at your home with great health. So here we will start our first lesson, which is about gaseous exchange. Before starting the lesson, you have to answer these four questions. How many types of gases are present in air? How many oxygen atoms are there in carbon dioxide molecule? Which gas is not harmful for humans? And which gas we require for breathing? Take 2 minutes and answer these four questions. Okay, so if we talk about gaseous exchange, so the definition of the gaseous exchange is taking in oxygen and giving out of carbon dioxide is termed as gaseous exchange. In gaseous exchange, basically two processes are going in your body, which is breathing and the one is respiration. Breathing is the intake of fresh air, means oxygen, and removal of foul air, means carbon dioxide, whereas the respiration is the oxidation of food by using the intaked oxygen in order to form carbon dioxide, water, and energy as a waste product. Breathing is a physical process and respiration is a biochemical process. Students, breathing, in the process of breathing, there is no energy release, but whereas in respiration, your body forms ATP. Extracellular process is a breathing and respiration is an intracellular process. No enzyme involved in breathing, whereas a large number of enzymes are involved in respiration because the respiration takes place in your cell, inside the cell. Breathing is confined to certain organs only, means your air passage and your lungs, whereas the respiration occurs in all the cells of the body. So in the diagram, you can clearly see that the breathing is just the inhalation and exhalation of carbon dioxide. Inhalation means oxygen is taken in through your air passage and get into your lungs. Breathing is used for the process through which animals take air in their bodies to get oxygen from it and then give out the air for getting rid of carbon dioxide. Gaseous exchange in humans require two main parts of human body which collectively forms our human respiratory system. The air passage, this is your air passage and these are the lungs. Air passage is shown here in the dark maroon colored box and the lungs are in the below your air passage. Parts and functions of air passage. The air passage consists of the parts through which the outside air comes in the lungs and after the exchange of gases, it goes out. The first part of your air passage is your nasal cavity, which have nostrils, which you can see in your body as well. The two openings, which called nostrils, are open outside for taking in and out of gases. These are the nostrils which opens in your nasal cavity, and your nasal cavity is followed by the pharynx, and then pharynx is followed by the glottis and then the larynx. So here we see that the nasal cavity is lined by fine hair and mucus. The fine hair filters the dust particles from air and mucus moistens and warms the incoming air and keeps its temperature nearly equal to that of the body so that the air which you breathe in easily enter your lungs. After your nasal cavity, the pharynx is present. Here it is the pharynx. It's a muscular passage and it is common to both food and air. Now you can see that the oral cavity is also open in pharynx and your nasal cavity is also open in the pharynx. So here we have a glottis is a narrow opening at the floor of pharynx which leads into the larynx. Floor of pharynx means at the bottom of the pharynx you have a glottis. Larynx is a voice box made of cartilage. Two pairs of fibrous bands called vocal cords are stretched across the larynx and vibrate when air passes through the cords. So students, whenever you take your food swallowed and the bolus, the chewed food is enter in your oral cavity and then travels through the pharynx, it does not enter in your larynx, which followed by the trachea and enters in your lungs. So it is open in the esophagus. Esophagus is just behind your trachea or the air passage. So this epiglottis is basically work as the opening and closing of glottis. Whenever the food comes in, this epiglottis covers the glottis. So food never comes down in your air passage. So here we have, after the glottis and the larynx travel down to the trachea and this trachea is then branched into two branches. So here we have a trachea. It is also called the windpipe. Windpipe means the air travels through this and down to the lungs. It is about 12 centimeter long tube which lies in front of the esophagus, means esophagus is behind your trachea. There are C-shaped cartilaginous rings in the wall of trachea. These are the white colored C-shaped cartilaginous rings which provide support to the trachea and also it prevents the collapsing of trachea when there is no air in the trachea. The trachea divides into two smaller tubes. These are the two smaller tubes called bronchi. These bronchi further then branch into the smaller branches called bronchioles. These bronchioles make fine tubules called alveolar duct. This is the alveolar duct which is shown in large visual. Each alveolar duct opens into a cluster of pouches called alveoli. Alveoli are basically the structure where gaseous exchange take place. So first we will see the structure of alveoli. Each alveolus means single alveoli, is a sac-like structure, means pouch-like structure lined by a single layer of epithelial cells. It is bound on the outside by a network of capillaries. See that it's like a bunch of grapes. It is the single one called the alveolus and the many alveoli make alveolar sac. So these are the alveoli and these blue colored lines shows the capillaries which provide the blood to these alveolar sacs. So we see that what basically happened at the surface of alveoli, the pulmonary artery from the heart containing deoxygenated blood enters the lungs and branches into arterioles and then into capillaries which surround the alveoli. These then join together to form the venules which form pulmonary vein. The pulmonary vein carries the oxygenated blood back to the heart. So here you can see that this is the pulmonary pulmonary artery. It carries the deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood matlab this blue color shows the blood having carbon dioxide and the red color shows that these RBCs have oxygen. So what happened here? This is the alveolar sac. This is round pouch-like structure, the alveolar sacs in which air is present, which we just breathe in. And this is the capillary contain deoxygenated blood. This deoxygenated blood contains carbon dioxide. So all the carbon dioxide get into the alveolar sac, and from the alveolar sac, all the oxygen get into the capillary, and from the capillary it travels down into the blood, and this blood then supplies to all over the body. So this is basically about the air passage of the lungs. So here we will end our lecture. Thank you.